All right, guys, we're going to do a recap of the Virginia State Championships we had this past weekend. Starting us off is going to be Lisa White. Now, Lisa came to us. She splits time at Cole Road CrossFit and comes to 301 for powerlifting. She struggled with depth for a little bit. We opened her up at 40 kilos and then jumped her up to 50 here on her second. You'll notice after this attempt, she takes a step back, so she gets red lights for that before she is given the rack command. She did great on this day on her very first meet. Ended up going 7 for 9. You'll see her come back and hit this 50 kilos on her third attempt and pauses it at the bottom to make sure the refs know that she's where she needs to be. Outside of 2 technical errors, one on the second squat and one on her last bench, she did excellent. We started her off on 25 kilos for the bench. Smoked her first one. Not her most confident lift is the bench press, but she performed really, really well with this. Came back here. I believe this is 30 or 35. She's had some shoulder issues, which is why here's her third bench where she misses here. She just jumps the press command a little bit early. Ends up finishing the rep, so it's a 77-pound bench, I believe is what she ended up with, which is a PR, but just doesn't count. First deadlift was absolute smoke show. Goes on to her next one, which is just under her best in the gym and makes that look just as easy, and then comes back for a 231 last deadlift, which is a 6-pound lifetime PR for her, and again makes it look easy. Next up is Hope Bryant, or Hope Shorter. You can notice the wide stance here. Hope also came from kind of a part-time at 301, has been doing a really good job with us. Really, really likes it, I think. Ended up with just underneath a PR on her squat. This is also her first meet, so we stayed relatively conservative. That little pause at the bottom there on her second made it a little bit harder than it probably needed to be. In her last attempt here, she absolutely buries, digs it out, has a good little rep there. She went 9 for 9 on her first powerlifting meet here, which is great. The bench presses, all of the benches were PRs. She finished with a 121 bench. I don't think she pressed over 100 pounds in training the entire time. So it was a great day for her. You guys noticed the smoke machines in the back. Saber absolutely crushed this meet. It was phenomenal to be there. Hope is built to deadlift. She's got long arms, she's got long limbs, and she ends up the day with a huge, huge deadlift at 336 right here that looked just easy. She's got more in the tank. I know she's going to go back to another meet here in the summer and just kill it. Venus Lanham had a rough start to the day with squats. Again, lost some balance, very similar to Lisa on her first attempt, and we had to end up retaking this. Young coaches out there, do not be afraid to retake an attempt, even if it looked light and it's easy. After she comes back and smokes that opener, I had to switch back over to my wife here. It was a crazy day. I had 8 lifters. I believe this is Nikki's either opening. Yeah, I think that's her opening attempt or her second attempt, one or the other. I took a big jump. I had Venus opening at 107.5. This is actually 120. So I took a 12.5 kilo jump for her third attempt to kind of keep her on pace for her total for the day. So don't be afraid to retake that number just in case there's a technical error to make sure they get on the board. Her Venus's bench is pretty confident. She started off with 65 kilos here. She was in a bit of a funk in the beginning of the meet. There was a little bit quiet in the corner with the girls that she was lifting with, but she ended up kind of getting out of it and finding her mojo here on the second bench, and it kind of made us both happy. She ends up missing a pretty big PR attempt here on her third, but we were happy with her bench press for the day. She had a good bench training cycle, and we're just going to continue to build on that as the months come along. Now, a little side story here as we go into her deadlift. Her and Hope, the previous lifter, have been kind of going back and forth in the gym. And on her last attempt here, Venus ended up lifting before Hope during the day. And ends up pulling a big PR here on her third at 324. She's pulled that in the gym, but not as easy as she makes it look here, and just had a really, really solid finish to the day, going 3 for 3 on deads. But I did chip her to push hope a little bit, which was a lot of fun towards the end of the day. Now, this is Nicole Cohn. She's one of my online lifters from Rebuild Stronger. Nicole came from me from a friend of mine and another client. She's a representative of Bolus and Barbells. You guys have probably heard me talk about that organization. Helps type 1 diabetics, which Nicole is one. It's been a blast to work with her. We've only worked for the last couple of months here, but she came to me with some issues with her squat and a couple other things, and we've been able to really kind of reclaim some of those things and have a lot of fun. She comes back on her third attempt here. She made both of those lifts, obviously, and for the first time ever is in the 300 club with this 309-pound squat at, I think she only weighed in at like 72.5 kilos and competed in the 84s. But this is a great execution from her. She kept great position and really followed through with that lift. The other things we've been dealing with Nicole is some upper body stuff that's limited her bench a little bit. Today we were able to go and match her previous PR, 87.5 kilos. And she did really, really well with it. I missed the miss at 90 kilos because of another lifter, which you'll see later on. She came back and smoked deadlift. We had a goal of getting an 800-pound total, and this is 319. And that was her third attempt. I think she probably had 350 in her. We were very conservative, but she had a great day. This is Presley Gibson opening up on squat. She opened up at 140. Presley's a firefighter, so getting in and out of the gym is kind of difficult for her. She is massively strong, though. This is only her second meet. She ended up winning the 84-plus class and taking home $500. I believe she was called on depth for this last squat. This is 155. She had a pretty good day. I think we could have made some better calls. If there's one lifter where I kind of look back and say, I probably should have tempered her a little bit, it's her. She also lost weight, a substantial amount of weight for this meet, cut about 5 kilos. So she came in ripping and raring to go, and I'm still really happy with how everything kind of ended up. This was a miss at 80. The little downward motion there, she missed. And this is Nicole's miss at 90. You'll notice she gets it to the chest, and she's benched 200 pounds before, and this was just not there today. And that happens. You just got to take what's there. This is Presley's, I believe, third attempt. Yep. And she just beats the press command. She gets a little over anxious. She lets it drop to her chest. And then she comes back pretty strong for deadlift. Here we're at 140 kilos again. She absolutely smashes this. Makes it look easy. Again, she picks people up for a living as a firefighter. So this is one of those things she's very proficient at. We go to 150. She pulls this relatively easily as well. And then we make a jump to 155, and we have a bit of a technical error. She, on this 155, pulls and then lets it sink at the top, and we get some downward motion. And you're not allowed to do that in powerlifting. I don't know of a federation that does allow you to do that. So unfortunately, this lift was not one that was counted. Joe Stevenson's another online lifter of mine. He's opening with, I believe, a 17.5 kilo PR right here. This last training block has been really, really, really strong for Joe. We've pushed pretty hard. He's had a couple injury history before, and we've been able to overcome some of those things. This right here is another big PR. I believe this was 212.5. And this is a miss at 225. This was a big goal for him here. And you notice his setup, he didn't get as tight and is disciplined on the setup on that one. And I think that's what ended up biting him. Bench press has been a lift that Joe struggles with confidence-wise, and I think this meet was a meet that made a big difference. He went 3 for 3 on bench with pretty big PRs. The last one being an over 300-pound bench, I believe for the first time in competition. And he made it all look relatively routine. An excellent day benching for him. Honestly, execution-wise, it's probably one of the best benches I've ever seen him do. And then he opens up again with the PR deadlift. Loses balance at the top. He's just a little fast. You see the little downward motion there. We go up 5 kilos, which normally I wouldn't do, but he assured me he wouldn't make me look like an idiot. Came up with 215 there, and then we go for the gusto at 225. And again, I think this is one of the better pulls I've seen him execute, and finishes this day super strong. Now, this is a battle here between my wife, Nikki, and Heather. And I did this on purpose as a coach and as a friend and as a husband. They battle each other in the gym pretty frequently, and I wanted to see them push each other because I know they would. Heather's got a bit stronger squat. She ends up winning squat by about 2.5 kilos against Nikki, finishing at, I believe, 110 kilos, with Nikki at 107.5. And this is Nikki's 107.5. They've both had to revamp their squat a little bit. We've had to bring Heather in. Nikki's 7 months postpartum. So we've had to make a couple adjustments. That's the big thing for both of them. I want you to notice how often they're smiling, how good of a time they have with this. That's Nikki's last attempt. Here's Heather's last attempt. Heather used to be a little bit wider of a squatter. Thank you, Susie Gary, for really helping us out and bringing her in and helping us get her head right around the squat again. And she absolutely smokes, and I say smokes because she stays in position, which was a difficult thing for her to do on her third squat. She opens up at 57.5 kilos, I believe is right here. Makes that a little funky, but she misgrooved it, came over. The two of these girls have a really good rapport with me, so we're able to make calls pretty quickly. And she made it pretty confident that she'd be able to go up. Nikki takes 60, makes it look easy. We take Heather up again. That second one is beautiful. Nikki comes up 2.5 kilos above her again. Nice big press. Heather finishes off strong and matches her best competition bench press with a nice smooth push. And then Nikki sets a 2.5 kilo PR in the competition with a great 65 kilo bench press right there. Now this is where the battle started. Opened up Heather at 105. And she used to be a sumo puller. So she goes and nails it. Open up Nikki at 105. And she comes up as almost always a conventional puller and nails it. I take them both up. I believe I take Heather up to 110. And she made it look easy. We're trying to just build her confidence back up with the deadlift because we kind of last minute switched her conventional. Nikki comes out, same thing, pulling 110. And then I make a big jump to 120. 264 pounds has been the bane of the existence of these two girls. So this was for the tie. If they both pull, they tie each other. Nikki came up first, and this is one of the gutsiest pulls I've ever seen her have. She sticks with it. She continues to pull. And then watch the end, the smile. This is what this meet was all about for these two, is reclaiming a positive mindset, getting back into some seriousness, and really, really enjoying everything. Heather misgrooves this thing and sticks with the pull and ends up making it look easy at the top end, smiling like she had a great time. That's what it's all about. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, you want to contact me, please feel free. I'll see you in the next video.